As the first light of dawn began to touch the valley of Hijr, an eerie silence enveloped the mountains. The morning breeze did not stir, birds did not sing, and not a soul dared to speak. Suddenly, without warning, a deafening roar shook the valley. The earth trembled as a massive rock in the middle of the mountains split apart. Dust rose in great clouds, and a beam of light pierced through the crevice. From within that opening emerged a magnificent she-camel, her presence overwhelming and divine. The people staggered back, terror in their eyes. One whispered in awe, "This is the miracle of Prophet Salih, peace be upon him." Long ago, a nation had been destroyed for their arrogance and tyranny. Yet amidst them, a few faithful who had obeyed the words of Prophet Hud, peace be upon him, were saved by Allah. After the divine punishment, a profound silence settled over the valley. The only remnants were broken homes, charred remains, and the lingering smoke of destruction. The survivors gazed at one another, hearts heavy with gratitude. Praise be to Allah, we obeyed His messenger, and we were spared. Had it not been for His mercy, we too would have faced annihilation. These believers left the valley of Ad, embarking on a long and treacherous journey in search of land blessed with water, fertile soil, and peace. They traversed the rugged mountains of Najd and Hijaz, facing harsh terrain, scorching heat, and biting winds. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet their faith sustained them. Finally, they reached Al-Ula, a land of springs, gardens, and fertile fields. Here their families settled, and their lineage began to flourish. From this region, their descendants spread further, eventually reaching the valley of Al-Hijr, known today as Madain Saleh. This marked the rise of the Thamud civilization. The Thamud were a remarkable people, endowed with exceptional strength, intelligence, and craftsmanship. Allah had blessed them with the ability to carve entire cities out of the mountains. Their constructions were awe-inspiring. Towering columns, straight walls, and intricate designs that even today leave travelers astonished. The Quran mentions that they built palaces across plains and hollowed out homes from the mountains themselves. Their towns were organized and prosperous, with bustling markets, the warm glow of torches illuminating the nights, and the scent of orchards and sweet dates filling the air. But pride and arrogance soon took root in their hearts. "We have built all this with our strength and intelligence," they boasted. They began worshiping carved idols, forsaking Allah, and calling upon natural forces for power. They oppressed the weak, seized the rights of the poor, and treated the will of their leaders as the ultimate law. Their famous saying was, "We carve homes from mountains. Who can stop us?" They had forgotten that all blessings ultimately come from Allah. In this time, a luminous child was born into the household of Ubayd bin Mas. This child was Salih, peace be upon him. From a young age, he exhibited wisdom, gentleness, and a deep inclination toward truth. Elders would say, "This boy is no ordinary child. His words carry depth beyond his years." As he grew, worldly luxuries and distractions held no allure for him. He often spent time alone, reflecting and remembering Allah. One night, Allah granted him prophethood. Salih, peace be upon him, approached his people with a message. "Worship Allah alone. You have no deity but Him." The leaders laughed and mocked him. "Yesterday you were our friend and guide," they said. "Today you forbid us from following the gods of our ancestors. We considered you righteous, but now you try to change everything." Salih explained patiently, "This valley, these mountains, these buildings, this very nature, all are blessings of Allah. Be grateful and do not associate partners with Him." The people, stubborn and prideful, demanded a sign. "Show us a living she-camel emerging from this mountain, and we will believe," they challenged. Salih, peace be upon him, prayed to Allah, and the mountain split open once more. From it emerged a magnificent she-camel, a living miracle and a clear sign from Allah. The she-camel drank water from the valley well during the day, leaving it empty, yet Allah provided milk for the people the next day. The blessing alternated. One day the camel drank, the next day the people could drink. But the people's arrogance would not endure this test. They conspired to kill the camel. A wealthy woman promised her daughter's hand in marriage to anyone who would strike it down. That night, they attacked. Arrows pierced the camel, and eventually they killed it. Triumphantly, they claimed all the water for themselves. This act of defiance sealed their doom. Salih, peace be upon him, stood before them, grief-stricken. "What have you done? You have killed Allah's sign. Now only a limited time remains for you." The countdown of punishment began. On the first day, faces turned pale. On the second day, they reddened. By the third day, they were darkened. A stench of death filled the valley. Before dawn, the mountains shook, the earth groaned, and a scream so terrifying tore souls from bodies. The Thamud perished, leaving their once magnificent structures in ruins. The Quran recounts, a single scream seized them. Salih, peace be upon him, stood at the edge of the valley and said, "I warned you, but you would not listen." This serves as a timeless lesson. Wealth, power, and grand buildings cannot save those who reject Allah's signs. Only faith can. Through centuries of war, invasion, and neglect, the memory of this sacred site persisted in writings and oral tradition, waiting for the day when it could be rediscovered. For generations, historians searched for the Church of the Apostles described by early pilgrims, described as built over the home of Peter and Andrew. Could El Araj truly be this legendary location? Evidence increasingly suggests it is. The architectural layout aligns with early descriptions, the chronology matches records from early Christian writers, and the dedication unmistakably honors Peter. Standing here today, one can imagine Peter himself walking these grounds. Perhaps he listened as Jesus spoke to him, teaching lessons of responsibility, faith, and love. Perhaps he prayed in his home or shared meals with the disciples. The mosaic may rest on the very soil that bore witness to these moments. An incredible link between the past and present, between human history and divine revelation. The story of Peter is deeply instructive. He was a fisherman transformed by grace, called to be a leader through Christ's love. He boldly declared Jesus as the Messiah, yet he faltered, denying his Lord 3 times. And yet, Jesus restored him with compassion, entrusting him with the care of the early church. Peter's journey exemplifies the human struggle, the trials and failures, and the transformative power of faith. Early Christians understood this intimately, and their reverence for Peter is evident in every carefully placed stone of the mosaic. As researchers continued to explore the formation, they observed microscopic patterns within the soil, traces left by decomposed timber corresponding to the positions of the radar-indicated beams and walls. These patterns provided further evidence supporting the hypothesis of a human-engineered structure. Over centuries, sediment and natural processes had buried these traces, yet modern technology enabled scientists to detect them and interpret their significance. This convergence of organic soil data and radar imaging offered compelling evidence that the Ark, or a vessel of extraordinary proportions, might indeed exist beneath the mountain. Skepticism remains, of course, as is customary in scientific inquiry. While the evidence is extraordinary, the research teams emphasize rigorous verification and caution. Each claim is meticulously cross-checked, data is peer-reviewed, and alternative explanations are evaluated. Even so, the unique combination of organic soil anomalies, precise structural patterns, and corroborating historical accounts is difficult to dismiss. The possibility that a vessel matching biblical description could survive millennia beneath Mount Ararat challenges both scientific and historical paradigms. The site also presents profound cultural and religious significance. For believers, the potential discovery reinforces faith in biblical narratives and the historical validity of sacred texts. For historians, it prompts a reevaluation of human capability, chronology, and early engineering ingenuity. Discovering physical evidence of a vessel like Noah's Ark could alter our understanding of ancient civilizations, human resilience, and the interplay between myth and history. Mount Ararat itself remains imposing and silent. Winds continue to sweep across its valleys, and the rugged terrain preserves its timeless majesty. Yet beneath the surface lies a structure that could link human history with divine narrative, connecting faith, science, and archaeology. Research continues, with soil tests, radar scans, and targeted excavations shedding light on the formation's complex nature. Each discovery brings humanity closer to understanding what may have occurred thousands of years ago and the possibility that a legendary vessel once sailed, or was constructed, atop the mountain remains an awe-inspiring consideration. The narrative of Noah's Ark is more than a story of survival. It is a tale that challenges human understanding, invites scientific inquiry, and inspires contemplation of morality, faith, and perseverance. If verified, the Ark's discovery would affirm that ancient texts can contain historical truths, bridging the gap between legend and evidence. Every beam-like structure detected, every organic trace uncovered, reinforces the notion that a vessel of immense proportions might indeed have existed.